Shadow football. When I watched this game for the first time, I thought, this game is a bit of a drab. I then watched it again, and I thought, both teams were alright. This was just a bit of a scrappy game. I watched it again a third time, and I thought, Liverpool's tactics are so intricate and interesting to analyse. I watched it for a fourth time, and I thought, Man United were quite poor, honestly, and Liverpool deserve a lot more praise than they're getting. So what exactly am I on about? Why were United poor? What are Liverpool's tactics? And what makes this game so fascinating? I'm going to start with Man United, and believe me, I want to spend my time talking about Liverpool, but please bear with me because I have to get this off my chest. Really quickly, alright? Manchester United press high in defence, and in this game, either Paris or Mallard drop back deep, which opened up space for Galton, Toon, and whoever didn't drop back from Paris or Mallard to run in behind. This is how they scored their first goal, profiting off a very high defensive line from Liverpool. Blundell plays a hopeful ball forward and Paris comes back from an offside position to drop deeper to try and receive it, dragging Gemma Bonner out from her central centre-back position. Missy Kearns loses the ball to Hayley Ladd and she promptly sends a great ball over the top for Leah Galton to chase. Jenna Clark does a fantastic job galloping back and manages to get a foot in to block Galton's shot, but as she slides through, the ball hits the post and really unfortunately hits Clark as well. Galton picks the ball up, looks for Mallard actually, Tegan Mika can't gather it, and Toon is the benefit from a comedy of unfortunate errors. The movement from Paris deep into her own half, and the opposite movement of Galton is what creates this goal. They tried this a lot during this game, and more often than not, they'd be found offside, the ball in behind wasn't good enough, or their decision making was poor. The other attacking method United have is to find Toon, which is always a good idea. Ella Toon is the heart of this Manchester United attack, and everything positive going forward seems to go through her. She is intelligent and fantastic at finding space for herself to receive the ball in a dangerous area and has a great eye for a pass to create chances. However, do you know what the really annoying thing was? The thing that really bothered me about United in this game, this is really annoying, alright? This is so infuriating. I cannot emphasize how angry I was watching this game. What really sent me over the edge was, Ella Toon's teammates did not give her the ball. So many times this game, her teammates became allergic to her for 90 minutes and didn't pass her the ball. The first example I can find came 34 seconds after kickoff. Hayley Ladd keeps her head down and doesn't see Toon in a space bigger than Greater Manchester. This one here, Riviere wins the ball and Nagano is running towards her. If the ball was played into Toon here, she'd have so much space on the turn to drive forward since Nagano is facing the wrong way trying to close down the passing lane to Ladd. The ball goes to Ladd, and Ladd immediately looks for a pass backwards. Riviere now has a second chance to redeem herself and make the obvious pass to Toon, but she decides to be the female Alphonso Davies and loses the ball to Nagano. Or here, Mallard picks up the ball and Toon does her best inflatable tube man impression to try and grab her attention. This would have been a simple pass into Zellum who can then lay it off to Toon. And what does Mallard do? Oh my god. Are you as angry as I am yet? No? Well, here's a few more. With Toon and Mallard both making the move behind Jenna Clark, and Koivisto not following Toon, Ladd just had to play the ball over the top here, and Toon would have had a clear-cut chance at goal because Clark cannot mark Mallard and Toon at the same time. But I guess she wanted to respect her captain and give her the ball instead. And if that was enough, Blundell had the chance to play Toon in behind who made a run across Clark. The pass is on here since Koivisto has gone to mark Galton, but Blundell doesn't play it. Paris could have played Toon in behind over here with Grace Fisk not really tracking her run, but she again decided not to. Maya Leticia over here chose to play a ball over the top to Galton who was offside rather than Toon who is completely free. Mallard here keeps her head down and gives the ball to Paris rather than Toon who is again completely free. Now I thought Marc Skinner would address this at halftime, but let's take a look at what happened in the second half, shall we? Missy Kearns is in position to cut out the pass, but she doesn't know Toon is there. Ladd doesn't pass it, and then Paris has also caught a case of tunnel vision syndrome and doesn't play the simple and obvious ball to Toon. Ladd is facing towards Toon here, but plays a rubbish ball over the top. Toon would have been a better option if she passed it here, in between Nagano and Kearns. If that wasn't enough, right for this one, Hayley Ladd didn't even want to pass the ball to Ella Toone here, hoping for it to go to Hannah Blundell. Toone just took it and ran forward, which she should have done because the ball should have gone to her anyways, and this is where you want her on the ball because now let's look at this picture. Aside from Galton, who is in a decent spot, if Paris and Mallard took up better positions to run in behind, this is a goal scoring chance. They don't, and Toone passes it to Blundell, who was the third best option in that scenario. In total, I counted 19 times where Ella Toone's teammates did not give her the ball when she was in a good position, and Hayley Ladd was the culprit for most of them. I'm now convinced that Hayley Ladd does not like Ella Toone for some reason. Something else Ladd doesn't like is passing the ball forwards. She had so many opportunities to pass the ball forward when her team won it back high, but it seems like her instinct is always to play the safe option and pass the ball backwards, rather than take a risk and pass it forwards, something she clearly dislikes. So what does she like then? Well, based on this game, like her name suggests, I'd say Ladd's like a bit of a hair pull. What United really lacked was patience. They'd keep playing horrible passes that weren't the right option, and I really struggled to see any sort of system in place. This is a huge contrast to Liverpool, where each player selected in Matt Beard's formation had a purpose, and thus understood their roles to a T. And now that we've gotten United out of the way, we can finally focus on Liverpool. Hooray! If you're a football nut like myself, Matt Beard's 3-4-1-2 system this game is pretty much the same as Julian Nagelsmann's 3-5-2 system when he was at Hoffenheim, but with a little twist. Let me break down Matt Beard's Liverpool for you here. So, Liverpool lined up in a 3-4-1-2 system for this game. The wingbacks would normally come back to defend in a 5. Kearns has the license to press up higher since Nagano is the one dropping deeper, playing in the holding midfield role, creating a back 6 for Liverpool. Melissa Twinkletoes Lawley and Kerry Holland, who I'm not even kidding, must have run the distance from Liverpool to Holland and back during this game, and Sophie Roman-Haug would work hard up front and close down the United defence and midfield. Now, what's so impressive about this Liverpool defence is they would regularly switch between defending in a 4-back and a 5-back depending on where they are on the pitch. If they were higher up, one of the centre-backs would leave the defensive line, pressing one of the United forwards, and they can do that because Liverpool would just set up as a back 4 if that happens, creating a 4-3-1-2 shape. In this example, Gemma Bonner steps out to press Mallard. The defence changes to a back 4, and Nagano and Kearns are in position in midfield, creating the 4-3-1-2 shape. Or here, Clark steps out to close down Paris. Nagano and Kearns are in position as the midfield duo, and the back 4 here are very organised. Even if Koivisto or Hines went to go press the United wingers, the back 4 would then take shape with one of the centre-halves sliding out to play as a fullback. Playing in a back 5 means a defender can leave the line, but the rest of the team need to stay in shape to compensate for one defender going hunting for gold, or in this case, Man United ankles. And Liverpool stayed in shape for the whole game. If they were in their own half, Liverpool went back to their usual 5-back, with the 3 centre-halves finding their positions and Kerry returning from Holland to drop into midfield, creating a 5-3-2. Lawley would also drop deeper, sometimes leaving Sophie Roman-Haug as the only player up front. When Liverpool were building up from their half, Gemma Bonner would push forward into a defensive midfield position alongside Nagano. Kearns would then be allowed to exercise her playmaking abilities, since Bonner's arrival in midfield would push her forward next to the Netherlands, kind of playing in a 4-2-2-2 system, but a very fluid one since Kearns, Amsterdam and Lawley all had the license to roam and pick up the ball wherever they found space, so I guess it's more of a 4-2-3-1 sometimes with Haug the one leading the line. Mel Lawley especially liked to drop back all the way to her midfielders to get the ball, and she did that a lot, which means Kearns and Rotterdam would push further up. This passage of play fully demonstrates what I'm talking about. Fisk sends a crossfield ball out to Emma Koivisto. Nagano drops back to cover for her marauding wingback, and look who pops into the picture. Gemma Bonner has arrived to the party into her defensive midfield spot. Jenna Clark has the ball and Nagano drops even further back to cover for her marauding centre-back, and passes it to Lawley who drops back. Take a look at where Missy-Bo Kearns and Kerry Holland are. Kearns is making a run in behind and Holland is roaming behind Haug. Those two have pushed up now that Lawley has dropped deeper to receive the ball. She produces some magic to get away from Blundell twice, not once, but twice, and passes a lovely ball straight to our favourite lad. It's a very fluid system and everyone understands their roles, which is what makes this Liverpool team so amazing to watch. Liverpool like to keep the ball on the ground and build out from the back, but when that's not an option, they can also utilize Sophie Roman Hog's insane aerial ability and link-up play and just play the ball straight into her. If SRH drops deeper for a pass, Lawley, Eindhoven, or even one of the wingbacks sometimes will go forward and get on the end of her passes. Sophie Roman Hog is such a key player in this system, honestly. She's amazing. I could make a whole video just about her. It's such a multi-dimensional build-up that Liverpool possess, because they can play with the ball on the ground with so much fluidity, and in the air as well. And it was a long ball to Sophie Roman Hog that was the start of the build-up to the first Liverpool goal. Fisk fizzes the ball to SRH where your friend and mine, Hayley Ladd, should be. The Manchester United midfield is quite disjointed here as Ladd is here looking at Nagano, expecting the ball to be played into her. But since Liverpool is so multi-dimensional with the build-up, Fisk opts for Sophie Roman Hog as she promptly drops into the space which is usually occupied by Ladd. This is quite poor from Leticia as well, as she just backs off and allows Hogg to turn and play a good pass to Kerry Holland. She moves it onto two-footed Lawley, who manages to create a yard of space for herself away from Leah Galton, and Millie Turner here is in a decent position. She could be a step closer to Koivisto, but it really should have been Blundell marking her opposite wingback, since Galton has gone out to close down Lawley. Koivisto makes a great underlapping run in between Blundell and Turner, and the phrase corridor of uncertainty is the most accurate phrase for this cross by Lawley. The corridor of uncertainty is roughly this area where your coaches will tell you to aim for if you don't have any clear-cut options in the box. It's the area where the goalkeeper thinks she should come and claim it, and the defender thinks she should clear it, often resulting in a mix-up. Furthermore, the defender is facing towards their goal, increasing the chance of a potential own goal as they're facing the wrong way. Basically, you're just hoping something will happen and the ball will find a way into the back of the net. And this is exactly what happened. Earps comes out to claim it, but Millie just gets her head in the way and turners it into her own net. When Lawley came off for Shanice van der Sanden, she was mainly used as an outlet to relieve pressure. The slight difference between Lawley and van der Sanden's roles were that Lawley dropped back to carry the ball out from the midfield, whilst van der Sanden often ran in behind to carry the ball forward when she was already in behind the United defence, moving her whole team up the pitch. Both of them carried the ball and carried it very well. And this Liverpool system really needs someone who is unafraid of taking defenders on and carrying the ball up the pitch. Van der Sanden gets on the end of a good Nagano ball and wins a corner off Millie Turner. And this is honestly just poor defending from Manchester United. It's easy to blame Leah Galton, who I thought was United's best player on the day, for not getting closer to Taylor Hines. But let's take a closer look at United's defensive positioning. Blundell, Garcia and Ladd are all doing the right thing by marking an individual player. Katie Zellum is on the near post, covering anything in her area. Rachel Williams is marking Gemma Bonner, which is already an alarm bell ringing because you've got a striker marking a defender and arguably Liverpool's best header of the ball. Williams is on the wrong side of Bonner anyways, and you'd want a centre-back marking another centre-back. Maya Leticia is zonally marking this area, covering anyone running across the goal. Leah Galton is watching the far post, and Millie Turner is watching the edge of the 6-yard box. This leaves Taylor Hines completely unmarked, which begs the question, what went wrong? In this case, Maya Leticia's position that she takes up isn't really doing anything. Anyone who might potentially run across the face of the goal is already being marked. She would have been better off marking Hines. And if you look closely, Turner steps inwards towards her own goal, which is a big no-no when it comes to defending as you want to be moving away from your goal when defending a cross or a corner. Ideally, she would have stood here with her body opened out slightly facing this way, so she can keep an eye on Hines and also head anything that comes near the 6-yard box away from the goal. When the ball comes in, Leticia isn't in a productive position. Turner steps inwards, which causes her to misjudge the flight of the ball, and Taylor Hines scores her first ever WSL goal. This was a tactical masterclass by Matt and his freshly trimmed beard. He said that dropping Van der Sanden and Herbinger for Lawley and Kearns was a tactical decision. And I think it paid off. Well, I mean, obviously it paid off because they won. Van der Sanden was much more effective coming on in the second half as her pace and energy really stretched Manchester United. Herbinger controlled the game effectively from midfield when she came on, and Matt Beard's side played fantastically. As for Marc Skinner, he said after the defeat that his players lacked desire. They lack the desire to head the ball, is what he meant, but I think his players lack the desire to play the ball forward. Too often did they play the ball backwards, sidewards. The only player of note that played the ball forwards consistently was Ella Toon, and the decision to take her off was a really weird one by Skinner. One midfielder that did play the whole game, and who I thought was the player of the match, was Nagano Fuka. Nagano was the midfielder that cleaned up all the mess her teammates left behind with her vision, composure, and intelligence all packaged into one little Japanese dynamite. She's the player that allows her teammates around her to really shine at what they're good at. Here, Nagano combines with Lolly and sets her off on one of her many adventures. This is an easy ball to play, but she just takes the simple but most effective option and sets Hines off forward. Over here, Hines takes the ball inwards, so Nagano fills in as the left wing back, and just look at her looking around, scanning the pitch to see where everyone is. She gets the ball back from Grace Fisk and plays a lovely ball into Lolly. She often filled in for her teammates if they ever left their positions and made an incredible intercept whilst filling in for Emma Koivisto. She's one of those players where you don't really notice her too much upon first glance, but when you really dive deep into the game, you'll realize how good she really is. So, where do these teams go from here? For Skinner and his United side, he needs to figure out a way to gel his team together after what I will describe as a delicate little clear out last summer. They still look quite disjointed and the team chemistry isn't quite there yet, but that will improve over time. As for Liverpool and Matt Beard, if they can keep this level of performance, patience, and effort up, they can beat anyone on their day.